For years, the situation between Arionne, Martell, and Melody has continued to be one of the most talked about stories. What started as a relationship that created huge attention slowly became a story about choices, waiting, emotions, and the price people sometimes pay for staying in situations that never fully become what they hoped they would be. Now, after all this time, many people believe Arionne may finally be facing the reality of what this journey has really cost her. The conversations are no longer only about how everything started. People are now looking at where things stand today and asking a bigger question. After all these years, did she actually get the life she was expecting? Recent messages and discussions online have caused many people to look back at the entire situation differently. Some fans believe the words shared were not just random thoughts, but a sign that someone may be thinking deeply about the choices they made and the years they spent holding on to something. Because when a person spends a long time waiting for something to change, there comes a point where they have to look at the reality in front of them. The excitement from the beginning can fade. The promises that once felt powerful can start to feel different, and the future someone imagined may not look the same anymore. Many people have followed this story from the beginning. They watched the ups and downs, the public conversations, the disagreements, and all the moments that kept people talking. But one thing that stands out is that time has passed, and time has a way of showing the truth. At the start of any relationship, people often focus on the good parts. They think about what could happen, they imagine the future, they believe that eventually everything will fall into place. But life does not always work that way. Sometimes, years go by and people find themselves asking questions they never thought they would ask. Is this really what I wanted? Am I happy? Am I growing? Am I getting the same energy I am giving? These are difficult questions because they require a person to be honest with themselves. Many viewers believe this is the point where Arionne may be today. Not necessarily because of one single moment, but because years of experiences can slowly change how someone sees their own life. A situation that once felt exciting can start to feel heavy. A choice that once felt worth fighting for can begin to feel like something that took more than it gave. And that is why many people connected with the idea of finding peace. Because peace is something people often understand only after they have spent years dealing with stress, confusion, or uncertainty. For a long time, many questions surrounded this relationship. People wanted to know if there would be a clear future. They wondered if things would eventually become more stable. They wondered if the waiting would finally lead to something bigger. But as more time passed, those questions did not disappear. In some ways, they became even louder. A lot of people watching from the outside noticed that the same issues seemed to continue. The same conversations kept coming back. The same doubts appeared again and again. And that is where many people started questioning whether this situation was actually moving forward, or if it was simply continuing because so much time had already been invested. One of the hardest things about letting go of something is accepting how much time has already been spent on it. When someone gives years of their life to a person or a dream, walking away can feel impossible. They may think about everything they sacrificed. They may think about all the moments they believed things would change. That emotional connection can make it very hard to see the situation clearly. Many people believe this is what makes Arionne's story so interesting. It is not just about a relationship. It is about what happens when someone reaches a point where they have to decide if holding on is still worth it. Because sometimes the biggest challenge is not losing something. Sometimes the biggest challenge is accepting that something you wanted badly may not become what you imagined. Martell has also remained a major part of this conversation. Over the years, his actions, choices, and relationships have been discussed from many different angles. Some people defend him, others criticize him. But either way, he continues to be connected to a story that has followed him for years. One thing that many people mention is the difference between how things look publicly and how things actually feel privately. From the outside, people only see certain moments. They see posts, they see appearances, they see what is shown. But a relationship is not built only on public moments. Real commitment comes from consistency, effort, trust, and building something stable over time. This is why many viewers continue asking questions. They want to understand what happens behind the scenes when cameras are not there and when social media is not showing the full picture. Because appearances can only tell part of the story. A person can look happy and still have doubts. A person can stay connected to someone and still wonder if they are truly where they want to be. That is something many people experience in their own lives. Another reason this story continues getting attention is because of Melody. Even though Melody has moved forward, her name continues coming up whenever this situation is discussed. Many fans compare the different paths everyone involved has taken. Some people believe Melody represents moving forward, rebuilding, and creating a new chapter. They point to the way she has focused on her own goals and building her future. Meanwhile, others look at Arionne's situation and wonder if she is now realizing that the path she chose came with unexpected consequences. Of course, nobody outside the situation truly knows everything that happens privately. People online can only react to what they see and what is shared publicly. But public conversations can reveal what viewers are noticing and what questions they continue to have. One of the biggest topics is the emotional cost of waiting. Waiting sounds simple, but emotionally it can be exhausting. Waiting for change, waiting for promises, waiting for someone to become ready, waiting for a future that keeps feeling just out of reach. The longer someone waits, the more connected they become to the hope that things will eventually improve. And sometimes, that hope becomes the reason they stay. But after years pass, a person may start asking themselves a different question. Instead of asking, when will things change? They may start asking, how much of my life have I already spent waiting? That question can completely change the way someone views their situation. This is why many people believe the recent discussions around Arionne are important. They see it as a possible moment of reflection. A moment where someone may be looking back at the past and thinking about everything that happened, everything that was lost, and everything that was learned. Because sometimes people do not understand the cost of a choice until years later. The cost may not always be money or something physical. Sometimes the cost is time. Sometimes it is emotional energy. Sometimes it is the peace someone gave up while hoping for a different outcome. And that is the part that has many people talking. Because after all these years, the question is not only what happened between Arionne and Martell. The bigger question is, what did the journey change inside her? As people continue watching this story unfold, many are focused on the idea that sometimes life teaches lessons in ways people never expect. A person can enter a situation believing they know exactly how things will turn out, but years later they may find themselves looking back with completely different feelings. This is why many viewers are paying close attention to Arionne's journey. They believe the biggest part of this story is not only the relationship itself, but the personal changes that happen when someone spends years connected to a complicated situation. Because time reveals things. At the beginning, people often see only the possibility. They see what something could become. They imagine the best outcome. They believe patience will eventually lead to the reward they have been waiting for. But as time moves forward, reality starts to show itself. The questions become different. Is this bringing me peace? Is this helping me grow? Am I becoming the person I want to be? Those questions are not easy, because they force someone to look beyond emotions and look at the bigger picture. Many people believe this is why the conversation around Arionne has changed. In the past, the focus was mostly on the drama, the history, and the choices that brought everyone to this point. Now, the focus seems to be on the result. After everything that happened, where did it actually lead? That is what has people talking. A relationship can survive difficult moments when both people are willing to grow and move forward together. Problems happen in every relationship. No situation is perfect. But the biggest difference is whether people learn from those moments or stay trapped in the same patterns. This is where many viewers have questions about Martell. For years, people have discussed his choices and how they affected the people around him. Some believe he has struggled with accountability. Others believe he has simply been misunderstood. But regardless of opinions, one thing remains clear. His name continues to be connected to major conversations about loyalty, trust, and relationships. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated.